Is Mihawk the greatest swordsman in the world? Or is this just a false claim? And what is the difference between swordsmanship and Haki? And is it true that Shanks is better than Mihawk? And what is the power of the greatest swordsman compared to Roger and Rox? In this video, we will talk about the power of Mihawk as described by the author Oda. Your support, guys, let's start. Boom boom. Well, in the days gone by, Mihawk was fiercely attacked with the aim of diminishing him and devaluing the title of the strongest swordsman in the world, or even denying the idea that there's a difference between sword skill and the use of Haki. And all of this is due to a clear agenda insisting on the inevitable superiority of Shanks over Mihawk. I'll say it frankly, this is the most ridiculous topic I've seen in the whole One Piece story. It's the most naive and desperate, and only comes from ignorance of the story or being completely drowned in emotion, the distinction between sword skill and Haki. There is no such thing as sword skill separate from Haki, it's never been pointed out, not even subtly. That's why it's a weak, shameful argument. These agenda-driven people say Roger and Shanks are not swordsmen, they only use the sword as a tool to channel Haki. But Mihawk supposedly fights with only a sword and has no Haki? Okay, if Mihawk has nothing but sword dances, then why does Zoro, who aims to defeat Mihawk, learn Haki? Why did Zoro say, "I will become a king," to achieve his goal of becoming the greatest swordsman? Would it have been enough for a performer to just swing a sword and defeat Mihawk? Isn't it the same logic? If Roger and Shanks are not swordsmen because they use Haki in their attacks, then by the same logic, Zoro is not a swordsman either because he uses Conqueror's Haki in battle. So he, like Shanks, wouldn't belong to the class of swordsmen. Ridiculous, isn't it? I don't know, but what can we do? Oda obviously knows about these rumors spreading in the One Piece community. That's why, in the last chapter, as he's done before, he dropped a scene like thunder on those who believe this nonsense. Rox, who was attacking with his sword using divine-level Haki, was called a Zebek-style swordsman by Oda. It's not the first time. Even Roger's quick attack on Odin was described as sword skill. Some people, finally smiling with reason, have begun to recognize that swordsmanship is not separate from Haki. Yet they still can't accept the idea that Mihawk is stronger than Shanks. So what did they do? I was amazed. I saw a clip from a well-known foreign YouTube channel. The big reveal? After all the hype, no solid evidence. Just a statement, Shanks is stronger than Mihawk because there's a chance he might use a gun or something other than a sword. Amazing. What kind of desperation is this? Shanks is a legendary swordsman, one of the greatest in the world. He wields a sword dear to his heart, Griffin, and was a rival to the Hawkeyes for a long time. All his famous attacks, including Kamasari, were with a sword. Then suddenly, he throws his sword away and pulls out a gun? Come on. Use some logic. If Shanks gives up his greatest strength and pulls a gun, what does that mean? What's he going to do with it? He'll get eliminated immediately. What I want to convey is, there is no evidence proving Shanks is stronger than Mihawk. According to the story, the author's words, and Zoro's dream, Mihawk must be the strongest, without dispute. And that's not just emotional bias. Also, having additional skills besides swordsmanship does not remove someone from the class of swordsman. The title of greatest swordsman still belongs to Mihawk. What's the proof? Let's take the story itself. Kaku, a CP0 agent, is a swordsman who ate the giraffe Zoan fruit. Even though he uses the fruit to enhance his cutting attacks, he's still described as a swordsman. The databook says he's a fast and dangerous swordsman who uses sword-style combat. Fujitora is also described as a blind swordsman who controls gravity and owns one of the 12 most powerful legendary swords in the world, Shikamazu. Even though he has a devil fruit, he is still classified as a swordsman, yet Mihawk is above him. Kabaji, Buggy's right-hand man, calls himself a swordsman, but fights using tricks like breathing fire and kicks. Yet Zoro still said anyone who calls himself a swordsman will not defeat him. On the other hand, the author always emphasizes that Mihawk is stronger. From his first appearance, he's called the strongest swordsman in the world. The author confirmed that no one stronger will come except Zoro. Now let's talk about the value of Mihawk and the power that Oda gave him. Remember, before you comment, these are Oda's words, not mine. Oda said in the Vivre card that Mihawk is waiting for someone who surpasses red-haired Shanks. He also said that Shanks had the strength to challenge Mihawk, the greatest swordsman. Oda also said that Mihawk aims for a power even beyond the world's strongest. Do you see the strength in these statements? They all support the idea that Mihawk is above Shanks. First, Mihawk no longer wants to fight Shanks. He's waiting for someone even stronger, Zoro. Second, Shanks used to be equal to Mihawk. That equality ended. Now Mihawk stands alone at the top. Third, Mihawk looks beyond even the strongest toward a power that surpasses power itself. That's terrifying. Do I mean Mihawk is stronger than Roger or Rox? Don't be ridiculous. You don't understand One Piece. Calm down, friend. Listen carefully. What is Zoro's goal? To become the greatest swordsman in the world. Okay. The strongest of the current era or all eras? If the second main character isn't going to surpass past and present rivals, what's the point? It's like saying Luffy won't surpass Joy Boy or Nika. So, we say Zoro will become the strongest in history. How? By defeating Mihawk. What do we conclude? Mihawk is at least equal to Roger and Rox, at least. That's logical. Now for some Mihawk-related jokes. First, Vista. I really don't get why this is still being mentioned. Mihawk was focused on Luffy during that clash, analyzing his ability. He had no interest in fighting Vista and didn't even land an attack. Then left, saying they'd fight later. Luffy clashed with Rob Lucci and Egghead. Does that mean Rob Lucci is equal to Luffy? You get the point. Second, 2 years after the Summit War, Mihawk is still present in the world. Vista? Gone. Take the hint. Also, some say Mihawk withdrew from a fight with Shanks. He didn't withdraw, he just wasn't interested, especially after Shanks lost an arm. He refused to fight him when he visited him on an island in that famous scene. At the start of the Summit War, when Mihawk moved, all the characters were surprised. Why? Because it's known that Mihawk doesn't fight or get involved in chaos. That's his way of life. He said it himself, he's not interested in the Yonko title. All he wants is a peaceful life, away from people, problems, and wars. Is this poor writing? Maybe. But we don't know what Oda is planning. That brings us to the importance of Mihawk in the story. I've said this before, there is no comparison between Shanks' importance and Mihawk's. Shanks is way more important, he's one of the top 5 most impactful characters in the whole series. His influence on Luffy alone is massive. That impact, those moments, those actions, that's why fans love him so much they deny the truth that the writer keeps stating. I know Mihawk won't stay in the background forever. His importance will rise, and the gap between him and Shanks in narrative importance will narrow. But Shanks will always remain more important than Mihawk. Still, there's a difference between being more important in the story and being stronger. I think that's most of what I wanted to say. If I keep going, I'll just repeat myself. At the end, my friends, there is a difference. Shanks is more important narratively, better written, more impactful, with more iconic scenes. But that doesn't make him stronger than Mihawk. The author has stated multiple times, Mihawk is above Shanks. We can't rewrite the rules or twist the author's words just to suit what we wish was true. Do you understand? Anyway, this was just rhetorical at the end. If you've reached this far, my friend, don't forget to support me with a like and a comment on the video. And I hope my words didn't offend you. I'll see you later, peace.